Texas Department of Transportation Houston District would like to welcome you to this virtual public meeting with in-person option. This presentation will provide information on the proposed Farm to Market Road 1488 widening project. This is a pre-recorded presentation. My name is Hegar and I am part of the project team that is working on this project. I would like to thank you for participating in this public meeting. This presentation is available for viewing starting on August 2nd, 2022. During the virtual meeting, you may pause the presentation and navigate forward or backward using your video player. If you have any difficulties accessing the public meeting information, need special accommodations, or speak a language other than English or Spanish and have interpretation needs, please contact 713-802-5766. Details on how to submit comments will be provided further in the presentation. This virtual public meeting is being held in conjunction with an in-person public meeting, which will be held on Thursday, August 4th, 2022 from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Field Store Elementary School, 31670 Giboney Road, Waller, Texas 77484. The information presented in the virtual public meeting and the in-person public meeting is identical, and the opportunities to comment do not differ. The FM 1488 project is anticipated to receive federal funds, and because of this federal component, TxDOT is required to assess the potential environmental effects of the proposed project in accordance with federal standards. The process that is followed is called the National Environmental Policy Act process, otherwise known as NEPA. The NEPA process provides analyses of the potential impacts to the natural and man-made environment and helps the decision maker to make an informed decision on whether or not to proceed with the project. On December 9, 2019, TxDOT received a signed Memorandum of Understanding from the Federal Highway Administration that permits TxDOT to assume responsibility from the Federal Highway Administration for reviewing and approving certain assigned NEPA projects. This review and approval process applies to this project. Elected officials were notified by mail and email on July 15, 2022. Notices in both English and Spanish were then mailed to adjacent landowners on July 14, 2022, along with project location maps. Notices for this public meeting were posted to the TxDOT website on July 10, 2022, in both English and Spanish. Postcards were mailed out using USPS Every Door Direct Mail on July 20, 2022. TxDOT advertised the meeting on roadside variable message signs along FM 1488 beginning July 19, 2022. Informative flyers were hand-delivered to local community facilities, gathering places, and apartment complexes in the vicinity on July 18, 2022. And finally, notices were also published in the Waller County Express and La Voz de Houston on July 19th and July 20th, 2022 in English and Spanish respectively. This virtual public meeting with an in-person option is being held to introduce the proposed project and gather public input. You are encouraged to submit comments on the proposed project after reviewing the meeting materials and listening to this presentation. In this presentation, I will describe the project's purpose and need and provide an overview of the project. I will also present the selected preferred alternative and existing and proposed typical sections. Then I will describe the project funding, timeline, and how to access meeting materials. Toward the end of this presentation, there are instructions on how to submit written comments. The project's limits are from Business 290 in Hempstead to Joseph Road in Waller and Harris counties. Land use in the area is typically agricultural with businesses and residences scattered throughout. From Business 290 to US 290, the land use is more urban and developed with businesses and residences. The project is being proposed to address safety, mobility, and connectivity. The purpose of the proposed project is to improve safety by realigning the multiple 90-degree curves to meet current safety criteria, increase mobility by adding capacity and providing median openings at selected locations, and improve connectivity by upgrading FM 1488 to a 4-lane divided roadway. One of the goals for the project is to reduce crashes along the corridor. The project team analyzed crash data for the project corridor for the years 2017 through 2021. Over this 5-year period, there have been 231 crashes, including 4 fatal crashes on FM 1488 within the project limits. Of the 231 crashes, 76 of these crashes may have been injury crashes. Additionally, at least 50 of these crashes occurred on sections of FM 1488 that have the sharp 90-degree curves, which makes up for 22% of the crashes over the 5-year study period. Also shown on this graph is the statewide average crash rate. In 2021, the statewide average crash rate per 100 million vehicle miles traveled was 115.91, which is represented by the black line. The orange bars represent the FM 1488 crash rate calculated between the roadways listed above. As you can see, the crash rate along the FM 1488 corridor within the project limits varies from 129 to 237 crashes per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. This results in an average crash rate of 184 crashes per 100 million vehicle miles traveled along the corridor, which is 59% higher than the statewide average for similar roadways. Mobility along FM 1488 is reduced due to numerous intersecting roadways and driveways to adjacent properties. Upgrading FM 1488 to a 4-lane divided roadway would add capacity and better accommodate turning vehicles. Median openings at selected locations and in some areas a center-left turn lane would be provided to accommodate residents, businesses, and intersecting roads. These would allow east-west traffic to continue driving without having to stop for turning vehicles. The roadway would be designed according to current TxDOT design standards. Connectivity along FM 1488 needs to be improved. According to the 2017 Waller County Comprehensive Strategic Plan, FM 1488 is one of the top 3 most traveled FM roads, providing a major east-west connection. The proposed project limits are the last remaining segment of FM 1488 to be widened to a 4-lane divided roadway. From I-45 to spur 149, FM 1488 is a 4-lane divided roadway. From spur 149 to FM 149, FM 1488 is under construction for widening to a 4-lane divided roadway. From FM 149 to Joseph Road, FM 1488 has been environmentally cleared for widening to a 4-lane divided roadway. This is the second public meeting regarding the proposed widening of FM 1488 between Business 290 and Joseph Road. At the first public meeting in March 2020, 3 general alternatives to widen the roadway and a total of 9 alternatives in the 90-degree curve areas were presented. Following the meeting, the project team refined the alternatives to generate a preferred alternative based on public comment, geometric refinement, safety considerations, and reduction of impacts. The preferred alternative is what is being shown at this public meeting. Some examples of the alternative refinement can be seen when looking at the curve areas. The preferred alternative in the curve areas is different than what was shown previously, unlike other areas of the corridor where the preferred alternative comes from one of the alternatives presented at the first public meeting. The following 4 slides show examples of the differences between the alternatives shown at the first public meeting and the preferred alternative. The locations of the 3 areas with 90-degree curves along existing FM 1488 can be seen on the map. As discussed on the previous slides, at least 22% of the crashes that occurred along FM 1488 within the limits of the project occurred on these curves. The project proposes to soften the curves to reduce crashes. The preferred alternative for each of the 90-degree curve areas, as well as the alternative shown at the first public meeting, can be seen in more detail on the following 3 slides. This image shows curve area A, which is located near FM 1098. As denoted in the legend, the gray shaded areas were the various curve alternatives presented at the first public meeting. The path highlighted in blue is the preferred alternative. This image shows curve area B, which is located near FM 362. As with the previous slide, the gray shaded areas represent alternatives shown at the last public meeting, and the blue outline path highlights the preferred alignment. This image shows curve area C, which is located west of Field Store near Field Store Elementary School. As with the previous slide, the gray shaded areas represent alternatives shown at the last public meeting, and the blue outline path highlights the preferred alignment. The preferred alternative does not follow the alternative alignments shown in March of 2020 because in this area, the curve could be smoothed out by making geometric improvements to meet the design requirements and would result in fewer impacts to property owners. In addition to softening the curves, this project proposes to reconstruct and widen the existing 2-lane undivided roadway to a 4-lane divided roadway with median openings at various locations. There are 2 sections of FM 1488 that are proposed to be reconstructed as a 4-lane roadway divided by a center left turn lane. This configuration is proposed from west of Gibney Road to east of Hegar Road and from west of Woodway Drive to Joseph Road. Improvements also include constructing a 10-foot wide side path that accommodates pedestrians and bicyclists between Business 290 and US 290, and constructing a 5-foot wide sidewalk between US 290 and Joseph Road. The no-build alternative would also be considered. The no-build alternative would mean that no roadway widening would occur and only planned roadway maintenance would occur. Following the first public meeting, a single alternative was not selected. Rather, the preferred alternative for the widening of FM 1488 is the result of a closer investigation of the previous alternatives and a refinement to address public comments on alignment location, improve geometrics and safety, avoid low-lying areas with drainage concerns, and reduce impacts. One example of the alternative refinement was the development of sections where a center left turn lane is proposed. During the first public meeting, 2 alternative evaluation matrices were shared. One matrix was focused on comparing the general widening alternatives, labeled as Alternative A, which required right-of-way from the left side of FM 1488, Alternative B, which required right-of-way from both sides of FM 1488, and Alternative C, which required right-of-way from the right side of FM 1488. The second evaluation matrix was focused on evaluating the same criteria but only for the 9 curve alternatives. The evaluation matrix shown here evaluates the preferred alternative, excluding the curve areas, compared to the general widening alternatives shown at the first public meeting. Although the estimated right-of-way is higher for the general widening of FM 1488, the number of residential, commercial, and other displacements with this alternative is lower than the previously shown alternatives. In March of 2020, the evaluation matrix comparing the curve areas was separated out in order to provide details for each alternative. The evaluation matrix shown here evaluates the preferred alternative in the curve areas compared to a range of impacts associated with the 9 different curve alternatives. Typically, each alternative had an estimated right-of-way between 34 and 46 acres. The estimated right-of-way for each curve area is similar to what was estimated for each curve alternative that was shown previously. However, with the preferred alternative, there are no anticipated residential or commercial displacements and only one potential other displacement. This slide shows an existing typical section. A typical section is intended to show a cross-section of the road to illustrate what it looks like at a specific location. As you can see here, FM 1488 currently has one 12-foot wide lane in each direction with an intermittent 12-foot wide center left turn lane. Shoulder width varies from 4 to 10 feet wide. The existing right-of-way varies from 80 to 100 feet wide. Shown here is a typical section illustrating what FM 1488 between Business 290 and US 290 would look like post-construction. The project proposes to add one additional lane in each direction and construct an 18-foot wide raised median. Left turn bays are proposed at certain locations along the corridor, which can be seen on the schematic. A 10-foot wide side path is proposed for 2-way bicycle and pedestrian use on both sides of FM 1488 and separated from traffic by a buffer. The proposed right-of-way would be approximately 120 feet wide. This slide illustrates what FM 1488 from US 290 to Joseph Road would look like post-construction. The proposed improvements include adding one additional lane in each direction and constructing a 40-foot depressed grassy median. A 5-foot wide sidewalk is proposed on each side of FM 1488 for pedestrian use and would be separated from traffic by a buffer. The 10-foot wide outside shoulders would accommodate bicycles. The proposed right-of-way would vary between 200 and 220 feet wide. There are two areas between US 290 and Joseph Road that would have a center left turn lane layout instead of being divided by a depressed median. This layout is proposed from west of Gibney Road to east of Hegar Road and from west of Woodway Drive to Joseph Road. In these areas, proposed FM 1488 would consist of two 12-foot wide lanes in each direction. The proposed design includes a 16-foot wide paved median to accommodate left turns. A 5-foot wide sidewalk on each side of FM 1488 is proposed for pedestrian use. The 10-foot wide outside shoulders would accommodate bicycles. The proposed right-of-way would be approximately 160 feet wide. For more detailed design information, please visit the schematic exhibit at the in-person event or download it from the project website. Here is a screenshot of the legend for the schematics. The legend is included on each page of the schematics so you can reference it as you review the schematics. The screenshot shows the various types of lines that you'll see. Of particular note are the yellow shading represents the travel lanes, the brown shading represents the proposed raised median, the red shading represents a proposed bridge, the double magenta lines with the light blue shading represent a proposed sidewalk or side path, the thin orange dashed lines that indicate existing right-of-way, and lastly the thick black dashed lines that indicate the proposed right-of-way. If you have any questions or difficulties reading the schematic, please reach out to a member of the project team for assistance. Their contact information is given later in the presentation. Approximately 279 acres of additional right-of-way would be required for the proposed project and would potentially displace 5 residential structures, 6 commercial structures, and 4 structures classified as other. A structure that is classified as other is a structure that is a different type than a residential or commercial structure. For this project, the other potential displacements were identified as 3 sheds associated with residential properties and a utility building. TxDOT offers relocation counseling and financial assistance to residences and businesses that are displaced by the acquisition of highway right-of-way in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970. TxDOT would provide assistance to potentially displaced residences and businesses. Information about the TxDOT Relocation Assistance Program concerning services and benefits for displaced persons and businesses can be found on the TxDOT website. Over the next few slides, I will walk through the location of each potential displacement. Feel free to pause the video to study in more detail or visit the schematic exhibit either online or in person. A potential residential displacement was identified west of Becker Road, located at 37479 FM 1488, Hempstead, Texas 77445. A potential other displacement was identified as a shed located west of FM 362 at 34855 FM 1488, Hempstead, Texas 77445. 2 potential commercial displacements and a potential residential displacement were identified near Field Store Road. Amsler Real Estate located at 30717 FM 1488, Waller, Texas 77474, and CCR Buildings located at 30555 FM 1488, Waller, Texas 77494. The potential residential displacement is located at 30439 FM 1488, Waller, Texas 77494. Two potential commercial displacements were identified near Hegar Road. Bill's Tire Company, located at 29454 FM 1488, Waller, Texas 77484, and Shell, located at 29503 FM 1488, Waller, Texas 77484. Two potential residential displacements were identified east of Hegar Road. Located at 29073 FM 1488, Hockley, Texas 77447, and 29073 FM 1488, Hockley, Texas 77447. The second potential displacement did not appear on the schematic aerial, however it did appear in Google Earth images taken in 2021. A potential other displacement was identified as a shed west of Sheffield Road, located at 28206 FM 1488, Hockley, Texas 77447. Four potential displacements were identified near Oak Hollow Boulevard. A potential other displacement was identified as a shed east of Woodway Drive, located at 24948 Woodway Court, Hockley, Texas 77447. A potential commercial displacement was identified as Tracy's Place, located at 24900 FM 1488, Magnolia, Texas 77355. A potential residential displacement was identified located at 24746 FM 1488, Magnolia, Texas 77355. Another potential other displacement was identified as utility building at FM 1488 and Oak Hollow Boulevard. A potential commercial displacement was identified west of Becker Road, located at 24421 FM 1488, Magnolia, Texas 77355. The project team is in the process of identifying and evaluating other potential environmental impacts that could occur as a result of constructing the proposed improvements. Areas being reviewed include cultural and natural resources, community impacts, environmental justice, floodplains, floodways, and hazardous materials. A traffic noise analysis will be conducted in accordance with state and federal guidelines to determine if the project would result in a traffic noise impact. If there is a traffic noise impact, noise barriers would be analyzed to determine if they are reasonable and feasible. If noise barriers are proposed for the project, a noise workshop would be held for property owners adjacent to any proposed noise barriers. The project would be designed to avoid or minimize impacts to the greatest amount practicable. Technical reports documenting the analysis and conclusions of these studies will be available for review once completed. The proposed project is consistent with the Houston-Galveston Area Council's 2045 Regional Transportation Plan for the Houston-Galveston region. The proposed project would be funded with a combination of federal and state funds for a total of approximately $202 million. We want to highlight the estimated project timeline. Look for the green "We Are Here" arrow. This public meeting is being held to present the preferred alternative for public input. After the comment period closes, TxDOT will consider all comments received and prepare a public meeting summary report with a response to each. The summary report will be posted to the project website approximately 3 months after the close of the comment period. The next steps include development of the environmental documents and the detailed schematic design. Once the environmental analysis is complete and the design is further refined, a public hearing will be held to present the design and completed environmental documents to the public. Following the public hearing, and after the project team has considered all comments received, an environmental decision would be requested. Provided the environmental documents and process are approved, the project would then move into detailed design and right-of-way acquisition could begin. The construction date would be determined after funding has been identified. The project website contains all materials presented in this public meeting, including this presentation in both English and Spanish, exhibit boards, a comment card, a project fact sheet, schematic layouts for the preferred alternative, and the environmental constraints map. These files are large and may require more time to download than the other project materials. TxDOT encourages you to review the materials posted on the public meeting website and to provide written comments. You may also submit written comments by using the comment card found on the project's webpage in the Downloads section. The comment card can be emailed to hou-pio webmail at TxDOT.gov or mailed to the TxDOT Houston District Attention Advanced Project Development Director, P.O. Box 1386, Houston, Texas 77251-1386. Comments must be submitted by email or mailed and postmarked by Friday, August 19, 2022, to be included in the official public meeting documentation. Responses to comments received during the comment period will be included in the public meeting documentation that will be posted on the project webpage in approximately 3 months. The project webpage is www.TxDOT.gov, keyword search FM 1488 from BU 290. Secondly, don't hesitate to contact us with any questions during project development. Please feel free to contact the TxDOT Environmental Coordinator at the Houston District Office at 713-802-5766 or the TxDOT Transportation Specialist at 713-802-5276 with any questions or comments. And don't forget to click on these links to follow us on Twitter for ongoing road closures and construction updates on the Houston District Twitter page. You can also keep up with TxDOT news on our Facebook page. Thank you for participating in this virtual public meeting. Please remember to submit comments by August 19, 2022. November 7, 2000 was the last deathless day on roadways in Texas. That means for nearly 22 years, at least one person has died every single day. We all have a part to play to change that. This message is that reminder to end the streak of deaths on Texas highways. We need drivers and passengers to act more responsibly and help us reach our goal of 0 deaths by 2050. Texans can play a major role in ending fatal crashes with a few simple driving habits. Wear seatbelts, drive the speed limit, put away the phone and other distractions, and never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So please do your part and share this message with your friends and family.